Number 57B, Fleur-De-Lys. Beautiful motif, very intricate, very simple to do. Just follow the numbers. We start there and we go all the way around and end up there. Right? So, this is the ruler. And if you can count from 1 to 4, you can do this pattern. Number 1, we start in the little clitch there and stitch up. We then go to number 2 and stitch down. Follow the ruler around and go to number 3. The placements are all there, the lines are all there, the curves are all there. Just make sure that you follow them. So, you start with the ruler square. And number 1 is at the top right hand corner. Okay? So, we're starting in that little clitch there. And we're going to stitch number 1. Round the curve and up. Stop with the needle down in the fabric and cut your thread. However you wish to do that. Needle down in the fabric, bring the ruler round and put number 2 in place. And as you bring it round, as you swing it round, you'll see that the scrolled line sits on top of what you've just sewn. And you're stitching down here to the little clinch there. And make sure that the foot is nuzzled into the back of the ruler. That's essential, because if it's a little bit loose, your lines aren't going to match. So make sure it's snug. And bring it round. Stop with the needle down and move to number 3. And as you bring number 3 in, curve her round until these lines sit on top of what you've just sewn. And stitch to the centre line. Stop with the needle down. Take this centre line and slide it up to meet. And you'll see as you do that the lines automatically sit on. I'm going to turn the fabric to show you. As I've brought that centre line up, these lines sit on top of what I've just sewn. Do you see that? So we've got the line sitting on there and the line sitting round there. Now I'm just going to swing the fabric round. See how light a touch that is on that ruler. Now we're going to stitch to the number 4. Bring her round, all the way round to number 4. And stop with the needle down and make sure you're nuzzled right up against the end of that ruler. Bring her round. And we're going back to number 1. Bring her round, and as you slide her round, you'll see this curve will sit on top of what you've just sewn. What could be simpler? Well, maybe a straight line. Never mind. Just slide it round. Yes? And stitch along the curve to number 1. Needle down, slide the ruler to the curve of number 2 and bring that curve round. Let me bring her round for you. All the way around. See how that's sliding round? You've got the curve there and you've got the circle there. Bring her round. Make sure she's nuzzled. And stitch round to the curve. That was number 2. Now we're going to number 3. Take your time and match your pattern up. Put your line on. You can see the line that we've got to follow there. And I'm going to stitch round to that centre line. Bring her round to the centre line. Now we're bringing this centre line over and matching her up. And see, the curves are going to match. Oh, I do love it when a pattern comes together. Stitch round to number 4. And after number 4 comes number 1. Bring it round again, all to the curve, and bring your pattern into line. Bring it round until the curves match. All the way round and the circle matches. And stitch up to number 1. Slide it along to the bottom of number 2 and put your curve on. Slide it all the way around until you can't think, I can't go any further, and then it matches. Bring it round. There. Match, match. And stitch down your curve. You're not going to jump into this ruler straight away in the very beginning, because it's a little bit more involved. The simplicity is still there. The rulers work all the same, but this is just a little bit more involved with a few more lines. I'm going to stitch round to the centre line. Bring it round and down into the curve to the centre line. Bring that centre line over. And you can see as you're slotting in, your pattern starts to evolve. Stitch round to the number 4. And I haven't turned the fabric at all, I'm just turning the ruler. Number 4 is followed by number 1. Bring it round, and as you bring it round, the patterns start to line up. And stitch up to number 1. Needle down in the fabric, bring the ruler around and slot it, and make sure that the end of the ruler is neat up against the edge of the foot. Your patterns sit on top of each other, and stitch your curve. Number 2 is followed by number 3. Bring it round, and as you turn, see the patterns, see them coming round and matching on the line. Now we're going to stitch to the, I'm going to turn this so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to stitch to that centre line. You with me? Take that centre line and bring it over here. I've purposefully turned it round so that you can see where we're going to end up. And we're going to end up right where we started. Can you see? We're going to come round and we're going to end up right where we started. Bloody clever, you know. Bring it round and over. And voila. Oh, I do love a good pattern. Isn't that just beautiful? All in one piece, and it finished up exactly where it started. One piece of thread to do all of that pattern in a square. Beautiful fleur-de-lis. Could be called scrumptious, but we called it fleur-de-lis. Number 57, quite possibly the best ruler that Bruce has ever done, but don't let him know that. Enjoy.